room is destroyed, Miss Bab. How is that messing with you?
Just have to take a look.
How long
Okay.
this is gonna take to clean?
I'm just saying. Don't look at that look.
How do we use and pollute air? Because it's a disaster in here, I'm not waiting for everybody to come back and forth to read. I will let Riley read, and maybe you guys, because you're right here.
Okay.
I read.
Kaylee, you want to start us off?
Yes.
And then stop when you get to here, because Riley's going to read this last paragraph.
Okay. You cannot. How do we use and pollute air? You cannot see air, and if air is clean, you cannot smell it or taste it. If air does not move, you cannot feel it or hear it. However, air is all around you. Earth's atmosphere holds the gases that living things need to stay alive. These gases are oxygen, carbon dioxide, and nitrogen. Plants take in carbon dioxide to make food. Animals and plants use oxygen to get energy. Some bacteria turn nitrogen into chemicals that plants use to grow. Sometimes particles of the pollutant build up in the air. These particles are produced when fossil fuels or trash are burned. Dust from the plowed fields, construction sites, and mines also can put pollutant particles into the air. Chemicals that are produced by factories can use air pollution.
All right, Riley, do you want to read this paragraph right at the bottom you talked about?
Yes.
Okay.
Some days you might see a yellow haze in the air over cities. This is a sign of a type of air pollution called smog.
Smog. All right. Good job, Riley.
Thanks.
So
Yeah.
particles that create a yellow haze. Hint, hint. Particles that produce a yellow haze are a type of air pollution called smog. Hint, hint. That's all I'm going to say. All right, Mags, you can pick up here.
If I can get it.
I'm not old. Don't just call me old.
Here, I got one right here.
Smog is an air pollution that is caused by particles that are produced when fossil fuels are burned. Smog irritates eyes and can make breathing difficult. It is especially dangerous for people who have breathing problems such as asthma. You want me to read this?
Yeah, keep one.
Air pollution does not only cause problems near the ground. About 30 kilometers above Earth's surface, there is a layer of gas called ozone. The ozone is a form of oxygen that protects living things on Earth's surface from the sun's dangerous radiation. Want me to read this one?
Yes.
In recent years, chemicals and aerosol cans and air conditioners have escaped into the atmosphere. When these chemicals rise high up into the atmosphere, they set in motion chemical reactions that destroy ozone. When ozone is destroyed, harmful radiation from the sun reaches Earth's surface more easily. Evidence suggests that this radiation can increase the chances of getting skin cancer.
All right, pause there. Thank you, Megs. Okay, so I want to kind of back up a little bit. So smog, I'm going to go rewind all the way to where it was talking about smog, the first paragraph that Maggie read. Smog is when little bits of the fossil fuels and things like that end up in the air. We burn them, we use them for energy, and teensy little particles, so tiny we can't really see them, they're up in the air. And can you imagine, like, if you were breathing it? Like, think about if you were trying to breathe gasoline or breathe oil or coal. You can't actually breathe that stuff. So if you look at that picture at the top left where the sky looks like this orangey yellow, like that's all of the pollution, because that's a big city there. And so they're burning lots and lots of things to get all the energy for that big city. And you see that a lot in like California, Chicago, New York, like all of the places where there's like a heavily populated area, because in those heavily populated areas, they're using more energy. They're burning more fossil fuels. So more pollution is in the air. And you can imagine, like, yes, there's tiny little particles. And if you were like burning leaves in your yard out here in the country, that's not necessarily going to affect you too much unless you're standing right by the fire breathing the smoke, and then it does kind of burn your lungs a little bit and it hurts. Can you imagine though that like if that's what all the air around you is like, if you were in one of these very populated cities, the air is kind of like that smoky campfire air all the time, because all those pollutants are just in the air, and that's what smog is. And your lungs are not meant to breathe teensy bits of coal and oil and whatnot. Does that make sense? Okay. And then when all of those things get higher in the atmosphere and the ozone, that's what's destroying the ozone. It says specifically the aerosol cans. Do you guys know what an aerosol can is?
Yeah.
Basically like air.
Miss Beth, don't spray that on me. I'm clean.
Aerosol can.
I'm clean.
Like these kind that have like this little spray thing that shoots the fine mist out. They used to make aerosol. Oh man, it smells very pleasant in here all of a sudden. They used to make these different. Hairspray was like a really bad one. They used to, like, and they still make hairspray like this. But they make it in a different way. The chemical that makes it pressurized in here so that it sprays out was what was the problem. And it was, again, something we can't see, but little particles of it were going into the atmosphere and eating up the ozone. They figured out a way, because scientists are so smart, to make aerosol cans without that chemical. They were called chlorofluorocarbons, CFC. They still, I think, have little bits, but they've formulated it differently. So it still damages, I think, the ozone, but not even half as much as it used to. Okay. I got a ton of hands raised right now. So Kane, you've been your hand raised for one aerosol can cannot destroy the entire world. But if everybody just stood around spraying aerosol cans all day, it would be a big problem. Also, we would choke to death from all the Lysol.
Yeah.
Kane raised his hand. Boom. Kane Edmond.
Most of the smog is from California because of the wildfires usually, so it's not all about the stuff that's occurring in the city. California has so much.
No, you're right. A lot of California's pollution and smog problem is because they have so many wildfires. And think about that, like we just talked about, like a campfire, all of that. Like even if you're burning a natural resource, you're still putting tiny bits up into the atmosphere.
Yeah, like if we burn wood.
Yeah, there's still bits. Grace.
And leaves.
One time my dad showed me a video of like all of the stuff in the air, and it was so orange in the sky that you couldn't even see where you were driving.
Ew. Ew. Are you all right, Max?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Grace. Josie.
So we're redoing some stuff in my house, and I remember we were staining a butcher block, and as soon as after he like stained the butcher block, I was sitting out there, and I could actually taste it in the air, like the taste of the stain, and you could definitely smell it, and I felt like I could almost see it, but you could definitely taste it, and I just remembered that it was really gross.
Yeah, there are certain chemicals that are so strong that, yeah, as they get into the air, I know exactly what you're taking. Like if you paint, and especially if you paint in an enclosed area, like you're painting your house, like sometimes it can be kind of overwhelming and you can smell it. And yes, like stain and varnish and anything where you're like changing the color of a wood, that definitely, like even if you're outside, like it's still, I agree. My mom stains furniture all the time, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Mom, why are you doing this? It's awful. Yes, and yes, it gets in the air, and you can almost taste like the particles. Zeke has had his hand raised. You know how he is if I ignore him for too long. Okay.
I have a connection with smog. One time we were driving to Florida, and in Atlanta, like when we passed Atlanta, there was like we could see the smog above like the city.
Okay, Zeke said as they were traveling to Florida one time, as they went through Atlanta, Georgia, which is a really big, large city, as they were approaching the city and whatnot, they could literally see like the smog above it. And you can, like, if you approach big cities, I don't know that St. Louis is quite big enough.
New York.
But New York, Chicago, Atlanta.
I've been in both of those.
Yeah, there are definitely cities where, yes, you are approaching them, you can kind of see the air just doesn't look as clear and clean as you're getting close.
Another thing is, can I read
Miss Bab.
What?
DJ's on
What?
a game.
Why were you on a game when I were having sex? No, that's not how this works. You participate and you pay attention.
You called?
Why are you laughing at me?
Riley's a savage.
Okay, are you okay? Maybe scooch away a little bit.
Miss
All right.
Bab, I have something
Sorry.
to say.
Yes, right.
So, anytime my dad does like spray painting, I can just smell the spray
I
paint.
love
It's
the smell of spray
disgusting.
I love the smell.
All right.
It's disgusting.
Kaylee.
So at my house, my dad has this like separate garage, and he recently just got it painted. And when we went down there, because he like put a loft at the top, and it stinks so bad down there. Like it's just like it's all closed in, and it's like new, and it just
Yeah, like
smells
new
terrible.
house, new like addition,
Yeah.
new cars. You can smell all the new chemical-y stuff. Lily.
Yeah.
Well, my dad is staining the back of the boat,
Mm-hmm.
like the platform, and it stinks so bad in my garage.
Mm-hmm.
So can I read next?
Stain is the worst. Zeke will come read. 2 paragraphs, and then Riley's going to read this last paragraph again. Okay, yeah, these two.
Can I take this one?
Yeah.
An ozone hole is a thin area in the layer of gas. Today, the chemicals that destroy ozone are no longer used in aerosol cans. Air conditioners are also made that do not use the chemicals. In industrial areas, smoke and gases that pour into the air from factories can combine with rain to form acid rain. Acid rain has many harmful effects. It can kill trees and wear away stone buildings and statues. Wait, like Lady Liberty, she used to be bronze, and the acid rain made her green.
Yes. Yes, so pollution, such as acid rain, that sounds like intense, right? It doesn't actually, like, it's not a strong enough acid that it's like burning your skin acid, but it's enough that pollution like that causes enough of it will cause like trees and plants to die.
And bronze to change green.
That's not the only thing that causes that, but yeah, there are several other ways that chemicals and things in the atmosphere. But the Statue of Liberty, she when we picture her, she's kind of like this mint greenish color. She's supposed to be like a copper color, right?
Yeah.
Originally, she was like this bronzish copper color, but acid rain and other chemicals and weathering has caused her chemical reactions with that copper to change color. We'll talk more about those chemical reactions next quarter when we actually start blowing stuff up.
That's right down Sean's aisle.
No. Just simple things that you have in your kitchen. No bombs.
Oh,
class!
I remember he was talking about this plant in a state or something that like when rain would fall under it, if you were under it, it would rain acid rain.
Oh yeah. So there's this tree in Florida that has these berries on it, and if it's raining and you stand under it, it'll kill you because it'll get on the berries and then it'll fall off the berries and it'll have the poison in it and it gets on you and
you'll
like
melt
burn your
like a
skin.
witch.
No, stop, funny guy. Enough. Okay, Riley, do you want to read your next paragraph? Turn her page. Do you see where they highlighted the other one for her? Yeah, point to that one for her.
You read this one?
All right, guys, listen.
Air can also be polluted by infants. Nature does a edge from volcanic pollution can stay in the atmosphere for days, weeks, or months.
Good job, Riley. All right. So, if we know that a basic fire and forest fires is causing smog and pollution, think what a volcano eruption puts into the air, right? So, and that stays there for long, long periods of time. Okay? Because there's just so much of it. Now, we have one more little bit to read on page 350. Okay.
Edson has my hand up for 2 paragraphs.
Okay, Kane's had his hand up for 2 paragraphs, so I imagine we're rewinding a little bit. Go for it.
You know the staining thing that we were talking about?
The what?
The staining thing?
The staining, yeah, and it smells.
Well, my dad has a woodwork shop, and he's always staining stuff in there, so whenever I walk in there, I'm like, and I close it.
I wish you guys could have seen like the face and the actions that Kane made.
There or something, so I have to walk back to the vault room that's connected to it, and I'm like.
So, as those of us that have experienced being around stain before, Kane's dad actually has a woodworking shop. So there's like constantly tons of staining going on there. And he did this sort of, I don't think I can recreate it, like space with people. Like that's what Kane just did. If you were looking at Kane, it would look awful. But so that's how Kane feels about stain smell. All right, how do we protect air? We've been talking all week, conserve energy, conserve water. Now we're going to protect our air.
Yay.
What? Wait. Okay. What? You already read, dude.
No,
What?
I'm not asking you.
Can I read? Okay, I was talking about, okay, so this chart up here at the top where it says like thicker and thinner ozone, it says northern hemisphere in 2006, and I noticed that it's like it's not very thick in like big cities in America, but it's like super thick in Canada.
Yeah, because nobody lives there to mess it up.
Canada, I'm gonna live there and
All right. Okay.
yeah,
Hang on. Let me rewind to what Zeke said. Look at the top of page 349. Oh, wait. You might not. Well, yeah, you guys have your book. There's a picture that says Northern Hemisphere, and there is a map that has like some red, yellow, green on it. And it shows like the thickness of the ozone, and where it's red is the thickest. You have to look like super, super close. But North America is right on the bottom edge of where it's kind of like green.
It's really thin in California.
Okay. And so if you look, the red where it's thickest is actually like most of Canada. Why is Canada got a thicker ozone than we do?
Living there.
No one lives there, and they're not messing it up.
Except for Toronto.
We are screwing it up.
Except for Toronto.
They're screwing it up in Toronto. All right.
Toronto.
For Toronto. All right. Josie, yes, ma'am. Your hand is raised.
Here, let me show you something.
I think she's presenting. Yep. Oh.
That's
Wow.
that's a big difference. That's what it used to
Yeah,
look
that's
like.
what she was originally like.
That's like a
So-
And then all of it was actually, it's oxidation is the chemical process that happened to poor Lady Liberty. We will talk a lot more about actually how oxidation happens next quarter. Okay, we're going to continue on so we can finish up because I have a little tiny experiment we're going to do today too. So Sean's happy dancing and he's going to read. How do we protect air? Go for it.
Just right there.
No, the whole thing.
What can be done to prevent air pollution? The best way to prevent air pollution is to keep the pollutants from getting into the air. Congress passed a Clean Air Act in 1970. As a result of these laws, many pollutions are now banned, and other pollutions are filtered out before they go in on the air. Factories must equip smokestacks with devices that trap pollution before the smoke is released into the air. The exhaust system of cars, buses, and trucks also are filtered with devices that limit the gases of the soot that come out of exhaust pipes. We can also reduce air pollution by using alternative energy sources such as solar power and hydraulic power.
Hydroelectric. That's the water tower.
Power instead of burning fossil fuels.
Thank you, Shawnee Poo. All right, guys. So, blocking those pollutants before they ever get to our atmosphere is the big way. So, filtering things out of the smokestacks from factories, filtering things out of our car. And then the other thing, like with the cars especially, we see like a change over to not burning gasoline and those fossil fuels. And you see a lot of people trying to use those alternate energy forms that we talked about, the clean energy, solar power on homes. Yes, you still need regular power if you have a solar powered home because you probably don't have enough solar panels to trap enough energy to power your whole house all day, every day, especially because in the winter, it's just not as sunny. So you probably do still need some form of fossil fuels in your house, but even having a couple solar panels will reduce the amount of pollution that you're putting out there and the amount of fossil fuels that you need to burn. Having an electric car, you still most electric cars still have a gasoline option, but they're like hybrid, right? We've heard of hybrid cars. They're both. They have gasoline and electric. That way, if it's not charged or you're on a long trip and there's not a place to charge up, you can still run off of the gasoline. But again, they're putting out a lot less pollution than a regular all gasoline vehicle. So that's why you see a lot of companies producing.
What about kerosene?
Kerosene is a type of a fossil fuel that they used to burn. A lot of times, like for lamplight and whatever, back in the day before we had electricity, because it burns longer and slower, so it lasts longer. So that's why they used it in lanterns and like lamps a lot and in homes.
Does it give out a lot more?
It might. I don't know how much pollution it gives out compared to like other. That was probably a kerosene lamp. Yeah. Okay.
You said it was
all
an
right.
oil lamp in the book. It said oil lamp.
All right, guys, hang on. All right. Can you what? Yeah. All right, so you have all the information you need to finish your worksheet at this point. So do that. We are going to do a quick experiment, so stay with me.
I think I know what it is.
If you are at home and you have this Vaseline or it's called petroleum jelly, if not, you just get to be an observer. This has been used a lot. Gross. You also need index cards. I am going to give all of my friends here in class. Here's what we're going to do. No, I need everybody to sit and listen. Shoot. Sit and listen. What we're going to do is I'm going to give everybody a piece of index card. Josie, you can use your whole index card or whatever. And you're going to write your name on it so we know whose is whose. And we're going to sit them in different places around the room, and we are going to collect pollution from the air. Because looking around the classroom, does our air seem like smog, or does it seem clear in here? Clear. Seems clear. Seems like our air is not polluted. Josie, is your bedroom polluted? Is there smog in there? Well, Cam, Lucas, Grace, you got smog in your bedroom? You guys good? Okay. All right. Hopefully you don't have smog in your bedrooms. Okay. Whoa! I don't know why everyone is talking and yelling. You guys are killing me. All right. So again, what's going to happen? Remember yesterday or the other day when we were talking about the hydroelectric and they used something called a coagulant that collected the pollution in the water? We're going to do the same type thing today. We're going to use Vaseline, petroleum jelly, to collect the pollution in the air. So we're going to take like just a little glob of the Vaseline and put it on our card, and we're just going to sit it somewhere. And today's Friday. When we come back on Tuesday, that Vaseline is going to look gross. Because it's going to collect pollution that we didn't even know was here. And you're going to be like, blah, because you don't even realize how much pollution is around us in our own homes. And I know your mamas are cleaning your house. I'm cleaning my house like crazy, right? Like, it's not saying you have a dirty house or we have a dirty school. Miss Ann and Mr. John are in here every morning, every night, cleaning everything in here. They're cleaning the extra double duty in here. They're bleaching everything down and whatever because of COVID. And I'm still going to get pollution on all of these cards. Hang on. Okie dokie, we'll get them in a bit. All right, now I have a question. If I were to sit a card, because everybody's going to get to sit their card wherever they want, and Josie, I highly suggest, and or anybody, Cam left me.
I know, right? That's why I said,
Cameron!
You never said that.
Okay, anyway, Josie and whoever, Lucas, Grace, if you decide to do this at home, and you don't have to do it now, but if you want to do it later, if you have the supplies, sit it in different places around your house, around your room, and see if the pollution levels are different in different rooms, in different places. Like, I would love to, that, like, I can't leave one in the bathroom here, but Josie, you could easily put one like on your bathroom counter and compare like bathroom versus kitchen versus bedroom versus living room.
Yeah, because I have 6 index cards.
And like I'm cutting mine, so if you have more places you want to put, you could cut them in half because Cam, you can do this like if you don't have the stuff with you now, you can do it at a later time as well. Oh, Cam, did you raise your hand?
I'm sorry, I actually I accidentally clicked the shutdown button, so it shut my computer
No,
down.
you're okay. We were just talking about like we're gonna set the index cards in different spots in the classroom and wondering if we would get different amounts of pollution depending on where we put it. Josie was thinking bedroom versus bathroom versus kitchen and see which one would get the most pollution. If I were to put them in my house, they're just gonna be filled with cat hair. In the classroom, we could put some like on the chalkboard ledge on my desk, over by the heaters, by the windows, by the door. I'm curious to see where the most pollution is going to be in our room. So we're going to get started on this. You guys, like I said, if you don't have the supplies with you right now, you can round up the supplies later if you want to try it. Otherwise, we're going to be observing these when we get back on Tuesday, and then you guys will be able to see what we observe. So if you are in the classroom, I'm going to hit stop record because that's all I've got for right now. There is a page, because I know Cam will raise her hand and ask me. You do have a worksheet today, in addition to, you got your worksheet, that's your like fill in the blank worksheet, right? But there's also one that's going to pop up for you guys today called Dirty Air Lab, which is what we're doing. It has you hypothesize about where the most pollution is going to be. So if you're doing the experiment at home, fill that out. If you're not doing the experiment at home, don't worry about it.
Oh, I bet I know where
Lily, in face-to-face friends, Lily is bringing you an index card. You need to write your name on it, and then come up here, and I will give you some Vaseline. And then you can select where you put it in the room, but don't just put it somewhere where it's going to get touched and knocked down. Like, try and sit it somewhere where it's not going to be bothered too much, okay? All right. Go for it, Kane.
So, I'm trying to become a diaper when I turn about 13, and my dad's already kind of teaching me a little bit. I've actually breathed air, I think the precious air, like,
Okay.
like the
Thank
filter,
you.
put in the tank, filter again, put in the tank again, and then I can just breathe through it. And it actually feels like so fresh.
Ooh, very interesting. All right, I'm going to hit stop record, but I'll stay on while we're getting